Welcome back. So we are going live. I will check on my live stream real quick. Let me see what I'm doing right now. Okay, let me do this. Let me edit this real quick. Let me. Hold on. What I'm working on this. I guess I jumped the gun, and I will be live streaming soon. So I will leave you with some of the speech. Let me. What I'm working on the background, getting this live stream ready. Sorry about that. There we go.
Working toward the same goal, but different avenues to get there. It's either the end of America and the beginning of communist, I don't know what they're going to call the country anymore, but either that or freedom, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the United States of America and the Constitution. Every day I see something else come out about an article or different things that the Democrats are saying that's literally deconstructing the Constitution.
I agree.
They're censoring, so they're trying to get rid of the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Kamala Harris supports a mandatory buyback for the guns, so they're imposing on our Second Amendment rights, and the list goes on. And it really seems like they want to deconstruct the country from the level of the Constitution. And crazy Chuck Schumer also wants to nuke the filibuster. He wants to get rid of the 60-vote Senate threshold to pass bills. So if they get in office and they do that, they're going to pass all their radical bills willy-nilly.
And one of the best ways to fight about that is to continue to support patriotic American businesses that help not only RSBN, but the nation as a whole. And this is from our friends at the Wellness Company. The world's on edge. Natural disasters, economic turmoil, election chaos, and health threats are hitting us from every angle. Meanwhile, our government is sending money overseas instead of protecting its own citizens. And with whispers of another pandemic coming, waiting for the system to step in is a dangerous gamble. You can't afford to be unprepared. That's why I'm excited to tell you about the Wellness Company's Contagion Emergency Kit. Designed by Dr. Peter McCullough, it's packed with essential medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, budesonide, and even a nebulizer, perfect for treating respiratory illnesses as flu season approaches. We've seen drug shortages and pharmacies turning people away. Don't risk being told no when your family's health is on the line. The Contagion Emergency Kit gives you control. No red tape, no delays. Visit MakeCareGreatAgain.com. Use code RSBN to save up to $60 off with free shipping. That's Make Care Great Again, and use code RSBN to save up to $60 off with free shipping right now.
Make care great again.
Some technical difficulties right now. Sorry about that, folks. You hearing anything?
I can't hear anything. By the way, we're here in North Carolina. There's 16 electoral votes in this election here in the state of North Carolina. And by the way, also Hal Weatherman is running for lieutenant governor. Lieutenant governor. So make sure you vote for him as well. And if you want to check your status of your voter registration, go to protectthevote.com, check that. And if you're available on election day to volunteer to become a poll watcher, go to protectthevote.com. There's a list of all the most susceptible states to election fraud. So make sure that we're protecting the vote. Make sure that we're having a free and fair election with real votes coming in this November.
And to make sure the election is too big to rig, as President Trump says. It's also important that when he takes office, he's able to carry out his agenda, which means you have to vote down ballot as well. Vote all the way across the board Republican so that when he takes office, he can hit the ground running and really begin making America great again.
So true. Any senators you want everyone to vote for off the top of your head, or future senators?
Off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure. It really depends where we are. There's so much travel. But I mean, it's really just across the board. I'm looking forward to Tim Sheehy, I guess, out in Montana. That's sort of a highly contested election because they've had John Tester out there for so long, which is sort of surprising that Montana would have a Democrat governor for so long. But there's a lot of enthusiasm and momentum behind Tim Sheehy. So that's one I'm definitely keeping my eye on.
So true. And Sam Brown over in Nevada, make sure you vote for him. He spoke at the RNC this year. He's an amazing American patriot. Also, I'm from Ohio, so Bernie Moreno is running for U.S. Senate. We need to get Sherrod Brown, the radical left lunatic, out of office. We need to get Bernie Moreno in. He's a President Trump-endorsed candidate. also a businessman. He is originally from Colombia. He came to America the right way through our proper legal system, and he is another beacon of the American dream, starting some car dealerships, becoming a successful businessman, and doing it the right way. And he is a great American patriot. Bernie Moreno for U.S. Senate in Ohio.
And I think there's something to be said about blue states, right? There's a lot of Republicans in states that typically vote blue, and there's this complacency or this feel that your vote doesn't matter. I would say this time around it does. I wouldn't underestimate the level of fed upness, for lack of better words, that people have throughout this country right now. And we've seen it historically throughout a couple of elections where when one issue gets really bad, and now we have about 4 or 5 of them, but people really come together and vote for common sense, because as much as you might think people are ideologues and only vote for their party, the R or the D, people really vote when it impacts their safety, their health, their wellness, their finances. I think President Trump has the winning argument on so many issues right now that he could really do a lot of damage in these blue states that typically rely on those votes to carry them.
So true. I believe that we could win California and New York.
Oh, I'm a believer in that.
If all you Republicans get out and vote, we could actually take some of these deep blue states that are historically voting Democrat. But the people of America are actually so fed up that I could see it happening. We could have a Reagan landslide.
I think so too.
The Trump version this year in 2024.
I think so too. And even if he comes up short in some of these previously deep blue states, that impacts the down ballot races a lot too. So as soon as you have people coming out in droves from all different parts of the state, you'll flip seats that way too. And that's almost as important as not quite as important as having President Trump be president, but having enough people behind him to back him and carry out his agenda is very important as well.
Exactly. We need Congress, senators. We need all these people supporting President Trump in office too. So up and down ballot, vote Republican. Make sure you're registered to vote. Bring 10 people with you. We need to make this too big to rig for President Trump.
I think what you mentioned earlier about who he surrounds himself with, that's something I'm looking forward to in terms of his administration. But if you look at some of his endorsements as well, that's a bit different this time around too. You could tell they've been more vetted. There's a lot more, I should say a lot less baggage with some of these candidates. I think that just goes with the time. If you're still supporting President Trump after all this time, he knows he could rely on you when he gets back in office to help carry out his agenda. So it really seems like the perfect storm right now, as long as everybody gets out to vote and delivers a victory for him.
That's so true. And he could see their true colors come out. So if they were a rhino and they weren't actually supporting him with their actions while he was in office, then he took note of that. That's for sure.
And that's a two-way street as well, because they asked J.D. Vance during the debate, you previously equated President Trump to a dictator and someone in particular. And President Trump and J.D. Vance both answered that very effectively, I thought. J.D. Vance acknowledged the fact that he changed. President Trump had convinced him over the years through his actions that he was the right man. And even President Trump, someone pressed him at one point about how you endorsed people that previously said bad things about you. And he was very humble about it. He said, look, I was an outsider. Virtually nobody around today was for me when I first came on. If I was to disqualify everybody who's ever said a bad thing about me, I wouldn't have anyone to endorse and help to help me when I'm in office. So I like seeing that there's this understanding that tough times have changed a lot of people and everyone's sort of coming together at the right time.
So true. And maybe you previously thought something and then over time you saw the actions or did your own research and then you came to the conclusion that President Trump actually is the one for the job.
I think so. And I just, again, we keep saying it, but I feel really strongly about that. You see these arenas filled up hours before. It's also hot out. I mean, I know it's fall, but we're down in North Carolina. People are out there. I mean, it's a hot day out there today, and people just don't care. They're so fed up with what's happened to their country, and they're ready to take it back.
So true. And again, we have the Butler PA rally tomorrow. We have an event in Wisconsin on Sunday. And October 8th, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and President Trump are hosting a virtual roundtable on health and nutrition and public health of the American people online. So make sure you tune into that because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is spearheading American health and the future of American nutrition. And he's so passionate about it. I'm passionate about it too. So I love watching everything that he has to say. He hosted another one in Washington, D.C. 10 days ago. If you want to go on YouTube and look that up, he hosted a health and nutrition roundtable 10 days ago, and he's doing another one October 8th. So make sure you tune in for that.
I think that's going to be a very important topic for this next administration. There's a lot of people outside. I asked a couple people, if you could ask President Trump one question tonight at this town hall, what would it be? A lot of them said, what are you going to do differently this time around? What's going to make it even better? I think that health aspect is that's one of the things that is going to be a high priority that probably wasn't as much during the first time around. I think everyone's looking forward to that because whether you like it or not, whether it's an issue you pay attention to or not, it impacts every single person in this country. Your health, what's in our food. A lot of times it's not even our fault. You go to the store, everyone's busy, everyone has personal things in their personal lives, taking care of your children, your family. You're just trying to grab things on the go. There's a lot of poison in our food, and I think Robert F. Kennedy is going to do a terrific job with that, and it's so important.
That's exactly what he's doing. And if you go to his YouTube channel, he talks about all that different, like red dye 40, yellow 5, tetrazine, I think it's called. There's all these chemicals that are banned in Europe and they're legal in America.
For those watching, let me know if the audio sounds good.
Fruit Loops, I think it was 2 different versions of Fruit Loops, same company making these Fruit Loops in America versus in Europe. And there's all these chemicals and toxins in the American cereal versus the same exact Fruit Loops, but in Europe where all the toxins are banned. And it's not, you can't just look at that as kids' food. Robert F. Kennedy is so passionate about making sure the kids are healthy, and we can't be poisoning them with these toxins and chemicals and artificial food dyes. So he's really paying attention to making kids healthier, because when you eat these chemicals and toxins and all the artificial dyes, it has detrimental effects on the body. And that's exactly what they're going to talk about in this roundtable. So make sure you tune in on October 8th. And I remember back when Obama was in office, or when he was running and then when he was in office, and Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act and healthcare for all, that was such a huge topic. And I thought to myself, I'm so obsessed with health and fitness, and I'm so active, and I pay attention to everything I eat and filtered water and organic food. Why do I have to take part in this healthcare for all system when there's so many people that don't pay attention or to what they're eating, or if they're not active, and then their healthcare costs are so much higher than mine? I don't really have much going on because I'm so particular and disciplined about what I'm eating now and doing now. So healthcare, when you're already sick, that has a root problem that started actually with health and nutrition from the beginning. So you need to focus on keeping people healthy from the start, not so much worrying all about the healthcare later when they're actually sick. And that's exactly what RFK is doing, and why I'm so passionate about him joining the Trump transition team for health and nutrition.
And health and nutrition is one of the many struggles in this country right now, as is taxes. And are you struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns? The IRS is escalating collections, adding 20,000 new agents and sending over 5 million collection letters to kick off 2024. In these challenging times, your best defense is Tax Network USA. Don't let the IRS take advantage of you. With over 14 years of experience, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in back taxes. No matter the size of your tax issue, their expertise is your advantage. They specialize in negotiating with the IRS, aiming to significantly reduce your debt. Tax Network USA doesn't just negotiate, they also protect your assets from IRS seizures and manage your yearly returns for ongoing compliance. Importantly, they are licensed to help with all state tax issues, regardless of where you live.
While we're waiting on them to for Trump to walk in, let me show you something. Let me stop that. Let me show you something real quick about what's going on or what happened at North Carolina. Somebody posted this yesterday. It's pretty sad. I'm gonna share this with y'all. Let me go back. Let me post it real quick. Let me share the screen with y'all. Share the screen. There you go, right here. See if we can. There we go. What's in Asheville, North Carolina? Pretty sad. Oh my God, look at that woman. That's pretty sad. Also, let me show you this. This was Elon Musk post this while ago, about noon, I believe Central. I'm in Central Time, so he posted this real quick. I guess one of his employees. He talked to the employees and asked for an update about the Starlink been setting up in Asheville in affected areas in North Carolina, and this is this is what it read. Mike, hey, this is Elon. Update here on the site in Asheville, North Carolina. How we have power for the equipment and how he can help. And the answer was, it is true now. Oh, they stopping. Okay, FEMA stopping the employees from to deploy Starlink. So now they are. It's true. They're talking about to shut down the airspace to regulate the private shoppers. They are riding into and out to deliver Starlink and supplies. So we're pushing back with Trump team as well to help us out, but it's not looking good. We need help to get the word out about FEMA. We spoke with Ivanka and hand out Starlink with her yesterday, but FEMA then showed up and started blocking us. The largest concern for us here is the FAA throwing the flights for our shopper where they are rescuing to and from or requiring to and from information on the mission now delivering to discrete code. So basically, they are blockading help to the for the people in North Carolina. I mean, that is insane. It's been happening since day three, I believe, day two, day three, and FEMA need to just move out of the way. I think FEMA, the only thing they need to do is just move out of the way. I mean, that's what they should do. Just move out of the way. So now we're going back to the to what are they talking about? So that's what's going on in North Carolina. So it's been happening for the last couple of days. Let me see if we can update you with some more info. Let me pull up here. Let me see what they got going on. 2 hours ago, space engineer trying. Let me put this up so you guys can see it real quick. Let me share the screen. Elon Musk, share the screen. There we go. Now you can see it. All right, space engineer trying to deliver Starlink terminals and supply to devastated areas in North Carolina right now, and FEMA is both failing to help and won't let others help. This is unconscionable. They're just this is a took a video a while ago. This is a video that they took of the devastation. Look at this screen. That's bad.
Yeah, it's all fiber optic. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That will take years to recover. Years, and the government ain't doing nothing but just stepping in the way of the helpers. I don't know what the government is doing. The only thing the government could do in the first few hours, I think the only thing they could do, it is foot the bill for the fuel, parts, mechanics, and just in the back end, working, gathering more supplies and help. But at the beginning, just step out of the way. Let them do what they do. Just foot the bill for the fuel, and just help as much as you can. But just blocking people to come in and help. That is insane. I mean, first time I hearing this, it just, and the worst part is FEMA is not stepping in, and if the people is lying, right? Let's say people is lying saying about FEMA is stepping in their way. They're not even coming out to the media and say it is false. I mean, so by staying quiet, pretty much is saying it is true. It is true. Or I don't know. I mean, look at that. Bridges swept away. That is bad. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. A lot of people is helping right now. Even Team Kennedy came out the other day, right here. Let me share this tab. Let me pause the other one. Let me let me share this with you. Team Kennedy posted this a while ago. That's his post. There's no way you can grasp the amount of damage left in the week of this hurricane. There is no way you can comprehend and complete the failure by our government to respond. There's there are Americans that has been left up in the mountains, in the hills with no support. I guess it's always been that way. There's people outside the cities, don't matter. The poor people don't matter. Blue collar workers don't matter. Excuse me. We're just a month away from election and see how really much they care. I got to see firsthand the ants how ones answer the calls every day, American. I got watch volunteers from several rallies do the impossible. They're sleeping in cars. They're delivering baby formula, food, and diapers. They check a nearly 100-year-old man that has been surviving for a week on their own. Do not believe what you see on the news. Do not believe what you see, what you have been told by the officials. The damage and loss of life is indescribable. This hurricane has left a path of devastation, and it has been since I haven't seen since Katrina. The soaring water levels and powerful winds wreaking havoc around the region, especially in the mountains. I mean, you see the videos; it's horrible. So my heart go out to the people out there. Hopefully they fix this. A lot of people volunteering. You got airdrops, Samaritan Purse. You have people gathering supplies. Regular people dropping supplies at different points to be then delivered to the helicopter site, so they can then be delivered to the person. So it's been a non-government, basically the people helping Americans. You know, Americans helping Americans. That's pretty much how it is because the government is just absent. So let's see how they are doing right now. Okay, they're still, oh, they're in commercials right now. So that's what's going on, and it's been happening. I seen TikTok all over the place. People talking about the government is just not helping at all. So we are going. Let me see if I can find another video that I saw I saw earlier. Let me look it up here on Facebook real quick because I saw somebody posted. Let me look, Andy. Let me look it up over here. Let me somebody posted. Hmm. Let me look it up. Right here. Found it. Listen to this woman. I'm gonna post this real quick. There we go. Listen to this. Let me see if it's good to go. Okay, let's go.
We were sitting in the private portion of the airport, and we got to overhear an awful lot. The Army pilots, the Navy pilots, hospital representatives, there was a lot of chatter. While we were there, a private jet landed and 4 FEMA representatives got off. Four people off of a private jet. Come to find out, and you're not going to hear this, so let me tell you. Come to find out, Mission Hospital was told, a private hospital, that they are going to go ahead and be the morgue center for body recovery. All of the Army Chinook helicopters you're seeing flying overhead, they are doing body recovery. FEMA said, and you can take this as a direct quote, said that they are too tied up at the border to send any more representatives. Yeah, at the border. So anyhow, I guess border control trumps whatever's going on here. So they told Mission Hospital they are not sending refrigerated trucks so that they can stack the bodies up. And we also overheard that whatever fatality numbers you are hearing, and this is a quote, go ahead and add a couple of zeros. So FEMA's too busy with the border. A private hospital and the Army are going to take over body recovery, and private individuals with their private helicopters and their private planes are the ones who are flying in supplies. I was at Hangar 10. I was picking up supplies. There was a stack for the Cajun Navy. There was a stack that looked like it was ASPCA. These are all being sent by private individuals. FEMA is doing nothing.
There you have it. FEMA is doing nothing. Let me stop that. Let me show you another video that I saw down. Here we go. Listen to this.
If you are a helicopter pilot who has been running rescues in the North Carolina mountains and you have been threatened with arrest, or if you know of someone who has, please DM me. U.S. Representative Dan Bishop wants to know about this. And when I called the office and spoke with his assistant, they asked me to please provide the names and contact information of anyone who has been threatened with arrest who is running helicopter rescues. So if you or anyone you know has been running helicopter rescues and has been threatened with arrest, please DM me or contact the office of U.S. Representative Dan Bishop. It's up to us, y'all. Let's make it happen.
Pretty much. They're already singing the national anthem in the town hall. Let's switch to the town hall real quick.
Please welcome the 10th Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Robert Wilkie.
Mr. President, welcome to America's hometown, Fayetteville, North Carolina. The land of the free because of the brave. Mr. President, right outside is North Carolina Highway 24. It is the most important road in the free world because it connects the world's largest military installation, Fort Bragg, it connects Fort Bragg with 40% of the United States Marine Corps. And when America is called, 9 times out of 10, it will be paratroopers from Fort Bragg and Marines from down east. who will be the tip of the American spear. Down the road is also another place, Wilmington, North Carolina. The battleship North Carolina has 10,000 Tar Heel names on it. 10,000 names of Tar Heels who rest in Europe, the Pacific, the Aleutians, and Asia, who never came home. The cost of freedom is visible there as well. Even to this day, 1 in 9 North Carolinians is a veteran. But we are at a tipping point. Under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, our military has been undervalued, under-resourced, and put in impossible situations. In our long history, we have never seen such a decline in American prestige and power as we have under those two. When President Trump gave me the honor of serving as VA Secretary, he told me three words: fix it, please fix it. He inherited a VA with a 37% approval rating. When he left, it was 92%. $8,000 people were fired from VA for not serving veterans. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris brought them all back with back pay. So this special place probably means more than any other community in the country because of what you mean when it comes to carrying freedom's burden on your shoulders. We are at a crossroads in America. If we continue down this road, led by people who believe that America is the cause of every problem on the planet, we will lose those freedoms that North Carolinians have been fighting for over 200 years. Come November, with renewed strength and faith, we will return the once and future President of the United States and make America proud and great again. God bless you. Thank you, Fayetteville.
There you have it. Now, oh, hold on. There we go. There you have it. Now they did the introduction for the Trump town hall, and we are. Let me see how. Let me bring this back up. Let me bring this back up. There we go. I'm back over here again. I'm gonna be right back with the who's next. Let me see who's coming up. Oh, we got more people coming in. Let's go back in there. Let's go back. Let's see what we got going on. There we go. We're back. Idle things. Let me stop the audio. There you go.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Good evening, North Carolina. It is so wonderful to be in your state. Florida baby is it. So for those of you who may not know me, I am Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna. I represent the 13th Congressional District in Florida. Thank you. I'm also a vet, but I'm here today because this happens to be one of the most important elections in U.S. history, right?
And with everything that happened, real quick, I'd like to say that my family is praying for every single person that's been impacted by this awful hurricane. I know we're feeling it back home as well. But now's a time where you observe actions. And I know there's a ton of military in the crowd. So real quick, if you are military, can you please stand up so we can honor you guys? I look forward to bringing that patriotism back into the White House, okay? Only a couple more days, guys. But this is a time where you observe action. And do you know who was here first, boots on the ground? It was President Trump, right? Those are the types of leaders we need, not leaders putting illegals first. Leaders who will put Americans first, every single person in this crowd. Now, we have obviously our very important guests backstage, but before we bring him out, I have a few questions for you, okay? First one is, will Kamala Harris, the border czar, be our next president? I don't think they heard you in Florida. Will she be the next president? Who is North Carolina going to be voting for this November? Say it again, because he said, fight, fight, fight. Who's going to be your next president? Are you guys ready for him? Please put your hands together for the 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
An American where it leads.
Let me stop the music because I might get a strike, copyright. So Trump is coming up right now. It's coming up right now. That's a lot of people. It's packed. Look at the town hall. The place is packed to the rafters. There we go. 47. Looking good. I don't know how he does it, to be honest. I don't know how he does it. He's been in one place a day, and like 2, 3, or 4 hours later, he's in a different state, handling business. He's a strong man. He is. So we are. Let me see if they stop the music. No, not yet. They're still playing that song. So let's see. Let's see. Want to stop it so we go back to the 45th president, soon to be 47th President Donald J. Trump. In my opinion, I've been tracking. I think he's gonna swap the election. It's gonna be, like he says, it's gonna be great. And I think he's gonna take 300 easy, 300 electoral votes. It's gonna be so big. He's unable to cheat. They will be unable to cheat. So let's still play the song. So let's see. Hopefully they talk about why FEMA is interfering, because it's verified by Elon Musk. They interfering with the rescue effort in Asheville. So let's see if he bring it up. I bet somebody will. Somebody gonna ask him about that. So let's see. And still playing the song. So that's one thing they probably is back in the back of his mind. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough. There we go.
Well, thank you very much.
If you haven't already,
Hello,
please
everybody.
subscribe to the channel.
How are you? Hi, darling. Hi. How are you?
Leave your comment
Thank
down
you very
below.
much, everybody. This is an honor. And, you know, I walked in, the first question that I asked, should we change the name from Fort Liberty back to Fort Bragg?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
First question. Right?
Same
So
with
here's
Fort
what
Hood.
we do. We get elected. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Trump, man, he's funny.
And we're leading in all the polls. We should get elected, but remember this: they cheat like hell. We got too big to rig. We need too big to rig. So I just appreciate being here. You know, we did win 2 world wars from Fort Bragg, right? So this is no time. Look at that big guy. This is no time to be changing names, but we're going to do that. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to get it back. We're going to bring our country back. We're going to bring our country back. Thank you, everybody. Let's have a little fun, right? Okay, good. Gotta be careful with this. Yeah. Go ahead.
Mr. President, I don't think you're going to have a problem with North Carolina. I think they love you here.
I love that. And you know, Kamala should be here. She shouldn't be anywhere else. And they're missing $1 billion that they gave to migrants coming into our country. Some of them are murderers. Some of them are drug dealers. Some of them, many of them, 13,099 murderers came into our country during their 3.5. And we're missing $1 billion they gave them to the migrants that came in. And now we don't have the money. We'll do it. But they don't have the money to take care of. That's why they're giving you lousy treatment in North Carolina in particular. And we don't like that, so we're going to let it be known. And they have to get a lot better because people are not happy.
Well, you're absolutely right, Mr. President. And before we start with that town hall, I actually wanted to mention that one of your friends here is Silk. Silk, are you here? Where are you at?
Oh. Where? Oh. I'll tell you, she is my friend, too. And she is my friend. She's my friend.
Oh, wow. Hey, North Carolina. Real quick now. I want y'all to listen up. I'm a little ticked off. I just want you to know I'm a little ticked off, and I'm going to tell you why. $750. Oh my. Where American tax dollars is being used to fund illegal aliens into our country. And these illegal aliens didn't pay 1 dime or 1 red cent into our systems. And all Kamala Harris and Tampon Timmy want to give us $750? Listen, you all, we only have one choice. One choice, and that's President Donald J. Trump. We cannot afford another 4 years of this, so you're going to have to vote like your life depends on it. Like when you're taking your breath and it's your last breath and you need that vote in order to breathe, that's what you're going to have to do. So you're going to have to, I'm almost finished, Mr. President. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to overvote the cheat. You're going to have to outrun the runway. And we're going to have to make it too big to rig. Woo! Now I can feel Diamond rising up in me. Because you have to vote right so you won't get left again. Vote red, R-E-D. Remove every Democrat. They gotta go. They gotta go. Now, while the media continue to play the race card, We're going to continue to play the Trump card so we can win, win, and win.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. So, you know, it was 9 years ago, and my beautiful wife, our first lady, we love our first lady. Did you see her interview on Sean Hannity and with Ainsley in the morning? She did great. But 9 years ago, she came to me. She said, you know, there are two women, and they are really incredible. I said, who the hell are they? He said, you got to see this. You're not going to believe it. They had a thing. And we fell in love like almost immediately.
Yes.
And her sister was just unbelievable too.
Yes.
And she passed away like a couple of years ago now. It's a long time ago. It seems it goes fast, right? But what a great combination. We love you both. They were loyal to me from day one. When they heard stuff, they said, that's a lot of crap.
Day one.
They were with me from day one.
Day one.
And that Trump sign gets bigger and bigger. I said, that's so nice. I want to buy one for myself. But
don't you worry, Mr. President. I'm going to give you one.
I mean, I don't worry.
That's
But
right,
you know
baby.
what?
Yes.
You know what? We appreciate your loyalty, your friendship.
Thank you.
And I saw Silk backstage. I said, I'm bringing you upstage. I'm going to bring you upstage. And we miss your great sister.
Yes.
And we love you. And thank you very
I love
much.
you so
Thank
much
you.
more.
Thank you. Great.
All right, Mr. President, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to be very careful with these seats.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
These seats weren't designed for me exactly.
All right, Mr. President, our first question comes from Allie. She was one of the residents here in North Carolina that was directly impacted by the hurricane, and it destroyed her community. Allie, where are you at?
Hi.
Good evening, President Trump. My name is Allie, and I'm from the foothills of North Carolina. Our entire community has been decimated. Thank you, President Trump, for visiting the disaster sites to bring attention and donating millions in relief.
Thank you, Allie.
This week, we have learned that not only did 13,000 murderers illegally cross our border, but FEMA is out of money because they have been providing $9,000 to every illegal. Enough is enough. We must put Americans first. How soon will you start deporting the murderers?
So let me just tell you that you're right about that. It's 13,099 to be exact. And murderers, many of these people murdered more than one person. One did 7. These are not people we want in our country. So this was, I guess, released by somebody that loves us, maybe in Border Patrol. We don't know exactly where the numbers, but these are certified numbers. And you had 16,000 drug traffickers. You had numbers that nobody's ever seen, 645,000 criminals overall. They're in our country. Nobody has any idea. They're from places unknown. Nobody knows who they are, what they are, but we know that we have over 600,000 people released into our country, along with the ones that you were talking about, the 21,000. But of them, 13,000, more than 13,000 are murderers. And some were on schedule to die. They were scheduled for the death penalty. And we have them now nicely ensconced in our country. I'll tell you what, we have the worst president and the worst vice president in the history of America. They are horrible. They are horrible. That could happen. And just the concept of open borders doesn't make sense. You know, we built 500 miles of wall more, and we're going to add another 200, much more than I said I was going to do. And that's why we had the best numbers ever. Oh, the chart. So you know the chart. My favorite chart, Allie. My favorite piece of paper, my favorite chart. But we had a chart. Do you have something up here that could show? Oh, I love that. I love that chart. Oh, I love that chart. If I didn't look to the right, I wouldn't be going to Butler tomorrow. You know, we're going to Butler tomorrow. If I didn't look over. So, no, but that if you look at the chart, at the arrow on the bottom, That shows the lowest number in the history of our country. That was the day I left office. And these clowns took over. And what they've done to our country, between that and so many other things, what they've done to our country. But, you know, I view inflation was the worst we've ever had, I think. They say, oh, it was only in 48 years. Somebody, one of the fake news back there, they corrected me one time. They said, no, 48 years. Oh, okay. But it wasn't. I believe it was the worst that we've ever had. And that's been one of the big problems. But to me, and I know that you talk about the bad economy, you talk about all of the costs, and the costs are so bad. To me, the worst is the border, because it's like what they're doing is they're destroying our country. And it's not easy. We're going to get them out. We're going to have the largest deportation in history. I'm not proud to say that either, but it's a tough thing to do. And we're going to get, Anna, we're going to get the criminals out. We're going to start with the worst of them, and we're going to get them out. And you know who's going to help us? Local law enforcement. Local law enforcement. They're going to be great. They know their names. They know their serial numbers. We're going to get them out. And, you know, very simply, we have a little thing called MAGA. Everybody here knows MAGA. It's called Make America Great Again. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make America great again. Thank you, darling. Really good question. Thank you.
You know, Mr. President, to your credit, too, I think that's largely why you've actually outpaced every other candidate for president with the support from the Hispanic American community, because it's not just a race thing. We all want border security. So thank you, Mr. President.
It's an incredible community that I don't know, it's just a very energetic. You know that, right? It's energetic. And they're very entrepreneurial, and they love our country. And we've gotten record numbers with the Hispanic community. And I don't know, it just works. It just works. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you, darling, very much.
Thank you, guys. All right, Mr. President, our next question is from John. He was a Green Beret captain who was actually kicked out of the military. I think he's going to share his story with you. 1 second.
Hi. Good-looking guy.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President. I'm John Frankman. I was a Special Forces Green Beret who was forced out of the military because of the COVID-19 vaccine
good
mandate.
Stuff, right? That's good. That's good.
So the Biden-Harris DoD COVID-19 vaccine mandate was very damaging to the military. It forced thousands of service members out, and thousands do not want to join now. The Biden-Harris DoD has the lowest recruiting in modern history, and now they're pushing more woke training. So how do you plan to repair the military from the damage that was done and hold military leaders accountable?
So I want to have them come back into the military with pay. And, you know, they've been talking about that, but it never happened. They never did what they said they were going to do. There should have never been a mandate. That should have never happened. You should have been given choice, as we say. We want choice in education, and we want a choice there, too. And that should have never happened. And, you know, we've lost some of our best people in the military, too. Did you leave? Did you leave? Did you ever take the vaccine or anything?
I never did, sir.
So you want a choice, yeah. And do you want it? Would you go back in if they were able to?
As long as there's accountability, potentially.
Yeah, no, there would be accountability, is right. They will fire their asses, but they will. We don't want to lose this guy. We want to get. He's central casting. We want to get him back in. Yeah, we're going to take care of it. I hope you do come back, or I hope you do very well outside. To be honest, wherever you are, I just want you to do well. But we're going to get a lot of people coming back. They should have never had the mandate. The mandate was a big mistake, and they treated people terribly, terribly. Okay? Thank you very much. Great.
Mr. President.
You look great. Thank you. We lost a lot of great people. Also in other, you know, in police forces, I mean, a lot of people were forced into doing things they didn't want to do. But I love that question. That's a great question. Thank you very much.
I also, too, if I could, Mr. President, I don't think I've told you this story yet, but actually we had some of our friends that had been deployed, and one of our friends actually was shot pretty badly and ended up going to Walter Reed. And to put in perspective, there's a lot of politicians that will take photos with the military, but they don't care. But President Trump actually went privately, didn't ask for a photo opportunity, and he said thank you to our friend that had been shot in combat at Walter Reed. His heart's in it. He loves our community. And when I say that he has your back and he's going to make sure that they're accountable, he will.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you, we have a great military, we really do. But Walter Reed, you mentioned the name, and that hospital was unbelievable. The doctors are unbelievable. They had a lot of problems with getting there, getting to it, you know, managerially getting in to see. but we had the best doctors. They could do things that nobody else could do, and they got to see some really badly hurt people. And the level of talent at Walter Reed, it's just an incredible hospital. So we have to pay our due respects. You know, you hear so much about government owned or whatever. I don't think there's a better hospital in the world than Walter Reed. So we should say that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. President, our next question comes from an active duty service member here at Fort Bragg. They like it. Austin, where are you at? Oh, front row.
That was good.
Good evening, Donald Trump.
Thank you.
President. Oh, never mind. I've never done this before. I'm an active duty soldier here at Fort Liberty. And I want to start off by saying I'm here in personal capacity.
You meant Fort Bragg, right?
Yes.
Fort Bragg.
It's all right,
I know.
Are you not? You're not a soldier now?
No, I am a soldier. I'm currently
Yeah,
active
you are.
duty.
Okay. Good.
But on a oh shit, that gives out. I'm here in my personal capacity, not speaking on behalf of the Army or DoD in any way.
Right.
This week we saw the missiles flying into Israel from Iran and how impressive the Iron Dome is in protecting Israel. What are your thoughts on the Iron Dome for America?
I love it. I mean, I love it. How can you? I love it. We're going to have it. One of the things I say, we're going to have an Iron Dome. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? And you see how effective. So the other day, 287 big missiles, ballistic missiles, were shot into Israel. Every single one of them was taken down. Well, why shouldn't we have that? And it's all going to be made in the United States. You know, it was our technology. It's all going to be made in the U.S., and a lot of it's going to be made in a place called North Carolina, if you don't mind, okay? And I think I just learned the secret. Look, we're going to win. I believe you got to get out there, you got to vote and all that. But I think I just learned the secret to winning absolutely and by massive margins. I'm going to promise to you, as I said at the beginning, that we're going to change the name back to Fort Bragg, because I think when that word gets out, I just see this great looking soldier just accidentally said Fort Liberty, and he got almost booed the hell out of the place. That was not good. Anyway, I believe it's absolutely something that we want to have for safety. We're a target for a lot of different places. I listened to Biden yesterday. You know, since I went under the wing, you know, I used to go under the wing of the aircraft. Nobody ever did that before. I did. All of a sudden, Biden started, but he only takes like a half a question. Usually can't answer it. But they asked him, "What do you think about Iran? Would you hit Iran?" And he goes, "As long as they don't hit the nuclear stuff." That's the thing you want to hit, right? I said, I think he's got that one wrong. Isn't that what you're supposed to hit? I mean, it's the biggest risk we have. Nuclear weapons, the power of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. You know, I rebuilt the entire military, jets, everything. I built it, including nuclear, and I hated to build the nuclear, but I got to know firsthand the power of that stuff. And I'll tell you what, we have to be totally prepared. We have to be absolutely prepared. But when they asked him that question, the answer should have been, hit the nuclear first and worry about the rest later. And that's what they should. That's what if they're going to do it. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it. But we'll find out whatever their plans are. But great question. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Austin. Mr. President, I don't think you get enough credit for what you did with the Abraham Accords. I mean, that really was historical.
I agree. I agree.
But realistically, because of the failed foreign policy out of this current administration, we are on the verge of World War III. When you get back in office, what are you going to do to change it?
So a lot of things are happening very fast. And, you know, we could end up in World War III before we get there. The way it's going right now, look at Russia with Ukraine. That's a disaster. Look at the Middle East. It's exploding all over the place. And we have people that, look, we have a president that he spends most of his time on the beach sleeping. I never saw a guy could sleep in front of a camera. Does anybody think of it? I don't sleep that much. I toss and turn. I think. I'm always thinking. Do you ever do that? You're sweating and you're thinking and you're trying to figure out. how to beat this one, that. Look, how to make our country great. But I toss and I turn. This guy just falls asleep on the beach like there's nothing to it. I wish I had that ability. That's one ability he has that I do not have. And I wouldn't mind having it. I could use a little extra sleep. But we are going to do things with our country. We just have to be respected again. You know, Viktor Orban, he's, the fake news, a lot of fake news back there, by the way. But the fake news, they call him a strong man. He's the head of Hungary. And we have, and he's, very strong guy, very tough guy. But I mean, more than anything else, a very smart guy. And they said, why is the world blowing up? You have the Middle East is blowing up. You have Russia, Ukraine. That could lead to catastrophe. You talk about nuclear weapons. That could be a total catastrophe. Why is it? He said, if you put Trump back in the White House, it's all going to end. You're going to have peace. We had 4 years. We didn't have any wars. We didn't have any terrorism. We didn't have anything. And I won't tell you exactly what he said. Maybe I will. He said because they were afraid of Trump. I don't want to be the one saying that, but they were probably afraid of me because they think I was crazy. And that's a good thing to think, right, soldier? They said, this guy is crazy. But no, he said that you put Trump back in the White House, you're not going to have all of that stuff is going to heal. October 7th would have never happened. The attack on Israel would have never happened. Remember, Iran was broke. They weren't giving money to Hezbollah. They weren't giving money to anybody, any of these, they call them delegates of terror, a lot of different names, but it's always of terror. And there was no money for Hamas. And now you look, because you were such a big part of it, we had no attacks, we had no terrorism, we had no nothing. For 4 years and I wanted to talk about it during the 4 years, but that's never smart, right, Robert? That's never smart to do. So I didn't, but I talk about it a lot now. We had no attacks. We had none of this stuff going on. We defeated ISIS, by the way. We took ISIS. We defeated them in 4 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. I rebuilt the military, and we had a military, and we have great generals, not the television guys, by the way, the real generals. I'm talking about like Raisin Cane, General Raisin Cane. You know who that is? But we defeated ISIS quickly. It was supposed to take 5 years. We did it in 4 weeks. We have a great military, and we have a military that's not woke. You may have a few people on the top that are woke, and we're going to get rid of them so damn fast, your head's going to explode.
Yeah, he's not kidding. I mean, we've traveled around the world just on Codels, and every single world leader that we met with said that they needed you back because you'd be tough on China. They know that other people won't be tough on China, but you'll be tough on China.
Well, even China likes us back. China wants to see a little stability too, but I charged China hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs, and they paid it. And frankly, we had a good relationship with President Xi, but they paid hundreds of billions of dollars. No other president got them to pay 10 cents, not 10 cents, got hundreds of billions of dollars. And you know what? More importantly, they respected your country. They don't respect us anymore. They respected your country, and they'll respect us again.
Amen, sir. Peace through strength. Our next question is from Sarah. Sarah is a VA advocate. Sarah, where are you at? Oh, perfect.
Hi, Sarah.
Again, we're working now. As you know, you talked about Walter Reed, sir, and I'll just say my husband is one of the most catastrophically wounded surviving service members, and you visited with him there many times.
Wow.
And this past July, you saw him in Charlotte. Yes, sir.
Is he here? No?
Not tonight, but you just saw him this summer, so he was so happy to see you this summer.
Great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I want to talk about all the advancements you made for community care, and you empowered veterans to choose their own providers. And Secretary Wilkie. And I was so proud to stand with you many times in the White House as you signed historic legislation and executive orders to take care of our military and veteran families. We've watched that community care access where a veteran can choose his or her own provider. We've watched that be actively limited and actively rolled back. President Trump, how are you going to bring that back as a day one priority and give veterans the choice for the best medical care back again?
It's such a great question, and thank you. And what a good wife that is, and I'll bet your husband's great. You love your husband, right? You know, the people like you, what is your first name? Sarah. People like Sarah are so important to our country because they take care of people that are great heroes, real heroes, and they take care. And if they didn't take care, or the hospitals would be unable to do it. They just would be there. This right now. I mean, with all of the migrants have taken over our hospitals. They've taken over. Incredible job. You did an incredible job. Stand up, please. And Sarah, thank you, Robert. You know, we had a 92% approval rating at the VA, 92%. Now it's down into the 40s. We had a thing called choice, where if you had to wait too long for a doctor, you know the story. If you had to wait too long, guys were waiting 4, 5, 6 months. They go in with a minor problem. They end up being terminally ill because they didn't take care of it. It could have been taken care of with a shot, with a pill, with a minor operation. They end up dying. And we changed it, and we had choice. We also had accountability, remember? Accountability. So on choice, they tried to get it for 52 years, accountability for 58 years. Accountability, you couldn't fire anybody in the VA. And I said, that's no good, because you had sadists in the VA, you had bad people we had some bad people. And we fired about 9,000 people, and we replaced them with 9,000 good, loving people that love our heroes, right? That love our patriotic heroes. And that was a big thing. And I just said to Robert, how's it going nowadays? How is it going? And he said, they're getting rid of choice rapidly. Choice is when you can't see a doctor rapidly. You go outside, you find the doctor, you get yourself fixed up, and Sarah, we pay the bill. And it was a great thing. And he said it's rapidly not being used, not being allowed to be used. And, you know, I think it actually didn't cost. I think it was probably, in the end, we probably saved on it. But money isn't the big thing here. I think we saved money on it because people would get very, very sick. These are people that would wait 4, 5, 6 months to see a doctor. If you had to wait more than one day, you go out, you see a doctor. We had bills negotiated, fees negotiated. You know, we can't be totally crazy with this because the doctors are pretty good business people, I will tell you, right? But we had a lot of fees negotiated. But you go out, see a doctor, get yourself fixed up, and you have no problems. It was one of the best things we ever did. And now this group of lunatics that don't give a damn about the military, they're making you go through that waiting of 4, 5, 6 months again. And our people can't we have great doctors, but they can't handle the loads. And we're going to go back. We get back in, we're going back to that, right? We're going back to it immediately. You're going to be in great shape, Sarah. You and your husband are going to be in great shape. And thank you very much. Incredible.
Thank you, Sarah. Mr. President, we actually have someone that, and before we ask his question, I wanted to read this to the crowd. He had actually written a letter to you after you'd been shot in Pennsylvania. Dear President Trump, watching you during the Butler rally and you getting back up, both my wife and I gave a sigh of relief as well as a few tears. I would be honored if you would accept this small token that I received as a young Marine in Vietnam. My wife and I both thought it appropriate. God bless you, your family, and the United States of America. Sincerely, Dwight. Dwight, where are you at?
Thank you. Whoa. Looks like a check. It's a check. It's cash.
For those of you who may not know, Dwight had given President Trump his Purple Heart.
That's right. That's right.
I couldn't think anybody more deserving of a Purple Heart.
Thank you very much.
You took it, you laid down there, you got back up, and the first words out of your mouth was fight, fight, fight. You didn't even have anything to shoot back at. You got guts.
He doesn't do this, but he's better than anybody as far as I'm.
No, I'm hardly better than you on this thing. You're great at this. And I wanted to thank you. I know that most of you all watched the president on that day. And were very fearful that something terrible happened when he went down on the ground. But it was such a relief. Our hearts were so filled with joy because we saw what happened. And it was a minor wound, but it was close to being a terrible.
You know,
We were really.
I said, how does it, why was there so much blood to the doctor? Just bleeding like crazy. This is a little fact. Some of you might have heard this, but you get hit in the ear, and it bleeds more than any other part of the body. So I didn't mind being hit that way. I don't want to be hit that way. This way. This way. If I didn't make the turn, I would have been hit the other way. That's no good. That would not have been too good. But it is true, and I got very lucky, and maybe it wasn't so much luck. Maybe there's something else, right? Maybe there's something else up there, but that's great. Thank you.
You also took the time out to write me a beautiful letter and gave me a challenge coin. I never expected that from the President of the United States.
Well,
thank you
this
very much.
was a great honor, and I remember it very well when you gave it.
Yes, I will.
Really nice. Thank you.
I served as a Marine in Vietnam, proudly served as a Marine in Vietnam. And thank you very much. There were quite a few that did. And when I came back from the service and stuff like that, we didn't get quite the greatest greeting, but
No, you didn't.
a lot of the veterans nowadays are homeless. There's 7% were homeless before Biden and Harris took over. Now there's 14%. I would like to know what you're going to do to prevent this from getting any larger, and also kicking these illegal aliens out of the freaking hotels and providing them with money before we do it to our homeless vets.
So interesting. So one of the things that most angers me about this is the 21 million people plus. You know, they say it's 10, it's 12, whether it is or not, it's much more than that. It's 21 million, and it's probably with the gotaways and everything a lot more than that. But one of the things that most angers me is that you have veterans on the streets in front of a hotel, and you have illegal immigrants. Some of them are serious killers and drug dealers and all the people that we talked about before, and terrorists. And those people being walked into a hotel, and they're staying in a hotel, and they walk by veterans who are sleeping on the street. And it could be cold, it could be hot, and it bothers me. If we stop, if we close our walls, we're going to be able to handle it. They are spending so much money on taking care of the illegal migrants, now we call them. We used to call them illegal aliens. I call them whatever the hell I want to call them. So do you. But they're not supposed to be here. And we're going to close the wall. First day, we're going to do a couple of things. First day, we're going to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to close the wall. We're going to close it up. And we're going to have to take people out. We cannot have killers. Do we agree? Does anybody want to leave the murderers, the drug dealers in our country? Do you know, one of the little facts that's very sad, but makes sense, that all these things I predicted 3-4 years ago, I was saying this is going to happen. Now it's happening. The migrant crime, it's a massive crime. But all of this that's happened, everybody, it's common sense that it was going to happen. And we're going to have to get them out because we have no choice. It's not sustainable by any country. We have done things that are so stupid. Like, as an example, I consider it to be less important, but it's very important still because it's a way of life. Men playing in women's sports, okay? Who wants that? And who wants open borders? Because open borders are so, you say, how does a thing like that happen? All of these policies we're going to be changing. And we have now somebody running as a radical left person, you know, more left by far than Pocahontas, more, you know who that is, more left by far than crazy Bernie Sanders. She's more left, and we can't have it. So we're going to take care of your people and your friends. You got a lot of friends out there that don't have a place, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it fast, and we're going to put money to it. First of all, we're standing on the greatest power. It's called liquid gold. We have more than any other country. We don't use it. We get oil and gas now from Venezuela. Do you believe it? We're going to take our own, and we're going to make a lot of money. So we're going to make a lot of money. We're going to take care of our veterans properly. We're not going to have that happen anymore, okay?
Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you. Beautiful guy. Beautiful guy. I think I'm going to stand. This chair is the most uncomfortable chair I've ever. First of all, it spins. And the one thing I don't want is to fall on my ass, because that will be the only story. They'll say, sir, you did great. Too bad you fell. That would be the only story. So I'm not sitting in that sucker. I think it's a booby trap. That was put there by Kamala.
Well, that brings me to my next question. So you're talking on immigration and border security. So we all know that that's tied to national security. And the one thing that ticks me off is you have Kamala Harris, who runs on the fact that she's a minority woman, but yet she's done nothing about the 300,000 migrant children that have gone missing. Just real quick, how many parents are in this room? How many women are in this room that support Trump? As mothers, grandmothers, sisters, wives, would you ever tolerate children being trafficked? If you were in Kamala's position, wouldn't you have stopped that? President Trump, you've done more for not just the Hispanic American community, but I think women in this country, not just, I'm just going to toot his horn for a second. He's put women in positions of power, but the media won't cover that. They won't, because it doesn't fit their narrative. They want women to hate him, but guess what? We don't hate him, we love him, don't we?
But I don't do it. I don't do it really for a pure, really great reason. I just do it because I want results. And I just find women to be smarter than men. Does that make sense? Men, you don't mind I do that every once in a while. It's not bad. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, to follow up on that question, as a grandfather and a father, what are you going to do to stop the trafficking of women and children in this country, and specifically with the migrant children as well?
So we had it down to the lowest number. You saw that on the graph. That included drugs. It included trafficking in women, mostly women and children. But you mentioned a number. It's, to be exact, 325,000. Now think of that. You could fill up the biggest stadiums many times with this. 325,000 children are missing during the Biden reign. Now let's say her, because they made her, and you know it's funny, when you say Harris, right? Nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about. You say the Harris team, who nobody knows. So you have to say Kamala. So Kamala. But Kamala and Biden, 325,000 just during this almost 4-year reign. That's missing, but many of them are dead. Many of them are in sex slavery. Many of them are slavery, period. And they're gone and never to be seen probably by their parents again, never to be seen. Their parents are all over the world looking. They're looking for them. And what we've done here is so horrible. 325. Can you imagine if that were me, where they were missing? This would be the biggest story. The fake news media never talks about it. You know what they're not talking about? And you know, Anna, you know what they're not talking about? They're not talking about something else that's very important. They are doing, this is Katrina, they are doing the worst job on a hurricane that any administration has ever done. And these people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. People are saying it's the worst job, and you people know it. A lot of you people know it because you're here, but they've done the worst job. Kamala has done the worst job, and it's really like her because she was put in charge. Now she said, I wasn't the border czar. They shouldn't call. Well, she was always the border czar. She never went to the border until a little while ago. And then she made a speech like, I'm going to start getting very tough. Why didn't she do it 4 years ago? You know, you could always say, why didn't? And all she had to do is leave our policies. We had Brandon Judd. We had Tom Homan. You know Tom Homan? I see him a lot. He's great, like Central Casting. He was great. All these people are great. We have great people there right now. But we have some tremendous people. And, you know, it's interesting with Border Patrol and ICE. it's really easier for them not to do their job, but they love the country. They really want to do the job. They're so disgusted when they have to let people, and you look at some people, you know they're criminals, and they have to let them go walking right by into our country. No, we're going to straighten it out. It's going to be straightened out right. But 300, remember this number, 325,000 children are missing. That means many dead are missing during this administration. And that's almost unthinkable. And I can just imagine if that were us, it would be the worst story. They never talk about it. And the other story they don't talk about, and I'm doing this because we're on all that television, look at all that television. The other story they don't talk about is what a rotten job they're doing in North Carolina and other places with respect to the hurricane. They are doing a terrible job.
Mr. President, to follow up on that, because the media is here, I do believe that they've intentionally, and this is my opinion, not helped out those residents because it's red communities that are impacted. Let's call a spade a spade. Do your job and do better.
Anna, one thing. So Elon Musk, we all love Elon, you know, Elon. We have to take care of our brilliant people. We don't have too many of them, right? There aren't too many brilliant people. But I got a call, an emergency call 2 days ago to speak to Elon, and he endorsed me very strongly. He endorses me almost every day. He wants us to win so badly. But Elon is a brilliant guy between the Tesla and this, that, the rockets. But he also does something called, you know, the link, Starlinks. So he has Starlinks. Now, I'm not too familiar with it. All I know is it's really supposed to be great. So they call because in North Carolina and parts of and a little bit Georgia, but in parts of North Carolina, every line is down. There was no calls, no anything. Nobody could get through to anybody. And I got a call from a big person in North Carolina. Could you possibly call Elon Musk because we need help with Starlinks? Could we get Starlinks, you know, really? And I did, and he was great. And, you know, he did something that was, he had it ordered. I got a call during my phone call. They called me up, the people from North Carolina, and they said, thank you very much for helping us with Mr. Musk. I was talking to him. He wasn't off the phone. I said, do you have some kind of a thing that we're talking and you're ordering people? This was the craziest thing. No, this is, he's like, I'm talking to him. So, Elon, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll see you. He's going to Butler tomorrow. You know, Elon is going to Butler. But I asked him about Starlinks. Would you be able to get a certain section of Georgia? They're going to fly them in with helicopters and everything else. Would you be able? And as I'm talking to him, they're calling me on the other line, thanking me for getting it. So I got to ask him what the hell that was all about, right? He's probably got some little contraption that he's going like this as he's talking to me. He's incredible, that guy, I'll tell you. But he got a tremendous for Georgia and for North Carolina, the Starlinks. They got to, here's the one thing they have to do. They have to distribute it. They have to get it out there. He got it here, but they have to get it out there. They're not getting it out. That's FEMA. They've got to get it out. So important. But he's really done a great job, so we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for all you're doing continuously. Our next question is from Pete, who is a Marine Corps veteran, and his question is going to be covering the withdrawal of Afghanistan. Pete?
Mr. President, I am Pete from North Carolina and also a Latino for Trump.
Thank you. I knew I liked him.
And I proudly served in the United States Marine Corps, first as enlisted,
That's great.
then as an officer. Despite what the Vice President says, we sadly lost 13 under her watch. It sickens me, many of my fellow Marines, as well as my friend, Lieutenant Colonel Scheller. There has been zero accountability for the terrible withdrawal. What will you do to make sure we have accountability for what happened?
Okay, it's great. It's like, I know more about that subject than any subject we spoke about because I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. There was never anything. I don't think Putin would have gone in and invaded Ukraine if that didn't happen. He saw that. He said, hey, these people are stupid people. They're idiots. And, you know, they only respect power and force. When they saw that, By the way, if I were president, Putin would have never done it, period. And you would have never had the attack, and you wouldn't have had inflation, and you wouldn't have had the problem that we're talking about, because, you know, I had it down to 5,000. I was getting out. They were there for 20 years. But a couple of things were done wrong. Number one, they should have kept the military base, right, Bagram? So you have a military base, one of the largest bases in the world. We left it. It's 1 hour, forget about Afghanistan. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, okay? You gotta keep that. And they didn't. They fled, they left. We had, as you know, 18 months. I called up Abdul. Abdul is the head of the Taliban. That's the ones that do the shooting, okay? Not the Afghans. It's called the Taliban. And the press said, why would you call him? Because that's where the shooting is. And I called him up. We didn't have, it was nasty. We didn't have one soldier killed, because they were killing a lot of our soldiers, the snipers, and a lot of them with the Obama-Biden administration before I got there, and a lot of them. And I called them up, had a rough call. And after that call, we didn't have one soldier killed for 18 months. We didn't have one soldier shot at for 18 months. And then we had a terrible election. We're not going to let that happen again. We can't ever let that happen again. We're not going to have what a shame that was. But we had an election, and these guys took over, and it all started up again. And what they did with that withdrawal was so bad. Number one, we lost 13 great soldiers. And as you know, I know the parents of a lot of them, but we lost the soldiers. We left $85 billion worth of equipment behind. We left Americans behind. Everything was wrong, and we embarrassed our country. I really mean, I think it was the most embarrassing. The one thing you do is you take the soldiers out last. Okay, they took the soldiers out first. A 5-year-old child would tell you that. The other thing you do is you fire every general that was involved in that case, because those guys were incompetent. And you haven't heard the last of that, I promise you. You have not heard the last of it. What a terrible thing that was. Worst, one of the most embarrassing, me as a person that loves our country, that was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, in my opinion. Thank you. We're gonna take care of that. I gotta get back in.
Mr. President is such a good title for him, isn't it?
You do know she's a congresswoman, right? And a highly respected one. She's actually a killer with her husband and the most beautiful baby you've ever seen backstage. But she's a congresswoman from Florida, and I have to say she's a highly respected person.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Mr. President, our next question is from Terry in regards to military pay, and Terry is from the 82nd Airborne.
Mr. President, thank you for being here. My name is Terry. I have had the honor of serving with the mighty 82nd Airborne. I'm also a proud member of the Lumbee tribe, the largest tribe in North Carolina. We have one of the highest percentage of military service in the nation, a higher percentage of the overall population. My question, sir, is about the military pay. You provided the largest pay raise in history to our military. Unfortunately, we have seen inflation skyrocket, and more service members and veterans are on fixed incomes and are finding it hard to pay for basics like grocery. What will you commit to increase military pay and bring down prices?
Yeah, very good, Terry. I appreciate it too. And it's very unfair. So I gave the largest pay raise in the history of the military, and I thought that was wonderful. But then when these clowns came in, these incompetent fools came in, they allowed inflation. And because of the energy policies, I think mostly, but also because of their spending, but they allowed massive inflation. So your pay stayed here, and you were happy, and then all of a sudden the cost of bacon doubled, and the cost of everything else doubled and tripled and quadrupled. Interest rates went to 10%, so you could no longer, we were at 2%, and they went to 10%, so you could no longer buy a house. So many things happened. The answer is yes, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of our law enforcement, and you know who else I'm going to take care of? Our teachers. Our teachers are very underpaid. We're going to take care of our teachers. Okay? Gonna take care. And I did it. I did it. I felt strongly. But, you know, the fact is that they got wiped out. What we gave you got wiped out by their inflation that they should have never had. That's another thing. You would have never had inflation because it was caused largely by really dumb energy. The energy went through the sky. That brought everything with it. So we're going to take care. But law enforcement also and your teachers, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President. We now have time for one last question. So our last question.
Make this a good one.
Our last one comes from Matthew. Matthew? He was an F-15 pilot. I won't hold that against you. Yeah.
Here, I got it. Mr. President, first off, I want to speak on behalf of everyone here and say thank you for taking time tonight to speak with our troops.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We got a lot of good-looking men in this audience, don't we, huh? And a lot of good-looking women also, by the way. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to revisit something you've talked about already. My name is Matt Lohmeyer. I was an Air Force F-15 pilot, and I was a commander in your newly created U.S. Space Force. I am also the first veteran of the Space Force because under the Biden-Harris regime, I was fired from my command and lost my pension for criticizing DEI trainings that were rampant in the military. Those trainings are still dividing our troops, and thank you for saying you would fire those few woke generals who are a big problem.
They're gone.
I'm going to suggest that it might, in fact, require ongoing oversight and a persistent, consistent, watchful eye within the Pentagon to ensure this monster never returns to the Defense Department. Will you consider establishing a special task force, office, or position to ensure that these monsters never return to the Defense Department?
You know what I'll do? And I'm pretty good at this stuff. Sometimes you get it wrong. I'm going to put you on that task force. I think it's good. Not going to do better than him. I'll put you on. Make sure you give the name. Thank you. Beautiful, right? I have your approval.
Yes, sir.
I have your approval. We're not going to get better than him. You're right about it. You're right. 100%. Thank you.
I'm cut. Mr. President, that wraps it up for the evening. Do you have any closing statements to everyone?
Well, I just want to say that it was very important that I got to North Carolina. You know, Laura, my daughter-in-law, gave me the most beautiful grandchildren. But Laura's here. I don't know if she's right here or where is Laura? Would you come out here? She is absolutely the great. Come on up here. Come on. She comes from right around here, and she loves this state. And you better be careful because I'm going to blame her if anything happens in this state.
That's true.
I said, I'm going to
but
blame
we're going to win North Carolina, are we not? I am from right down the street a little ways in Wilmington, North Carolina, where I was born and raised. And I know I don't even have to ask this audience this question, but are we ready to send Donald J. Trump back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? All right. Here's what I need from everybody. You might know that I am right now the co-chair of the RNC, thanks to my father-in-law calling me one evening. But here's how we are going to make it too big to rig. Here's how we're going to swamp the vote. Is everyone in here registered to vote? If you are not, go right now to swampthevoteusa.com and get registered. Go vote early and take every person you know to go vote early. We will win this big league, as Donald Trump says, on November 5th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys. I love you, North Carolina. Thank you.
I have to thank you because you gave me really a great daughter-in-law. She's really special. And she's along with Michael, who's here, Michael Watley, they're essentially the co-chairman of the Republican Party. This is a very upwardly mobile person. She's doing good, but you know the truth, she's so good. I'm very conscious of like nepotism. But when I did with her, I recommended, all I did was recommend, and everybody couldn't believe she was even doing it. She is really a person that's incredible. She's respected by everybody. They love her. She comes from here, and there is no place she likes better than North Carolina. So get out there and vote in honor of this wonderful person. This wonderful person. Where's Michael? Will you get up here, Michael, please? Don't worry about the time. The networks will stay with us, right? Michael, would you say a few words? So Michael Whatley, I mean, I guess I like North Carolina because he was the head of the Republican Party. We won the state twice. And last time when all of a sudden around 3:02 in the morning, we started to fall off on a lot of things, it was ridiculous. But with this state, there was no fall off. He had 602 lawyers working for him. And I said, who the hell is the guy that did such a good job in North Carolina? Because we were leading in Pennsylvania. We were leading all the way along. And these people will do it. They have no shame. And he did the job. And I said, I want to get him. And he's chairman of essentially the Republican Party. And I just want to say you're doing a great job. But I don't want to say it too early. Let's wait till November 6th. I want to wait till the morning after, right? Then I feel confident that we'll say it. But so Michael is from North Carolina. He was the head of your party, and he did a great job, and he went to the top. And please say a few words, Michael.
So to win North Carolina, we are going to get out the vote. We are going to protect the ballot. We are going to expand our majority in the House. We are going to flip the Senate, and we are going to send Donald J. Trump back to the White House as the 47th president of the United States.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody from Fort Bragg. Thank you.
There you go. There you have it. Donald Trump just finished his speech. He got a lot of people coming in. A lot of people that this poor guy got kicked out of the military because of vaccine mandate and all that stuff. But it was a pretty good speech. We're gonna have another one tomorrow, so stay tuned on my podcast. Also I will leave it. So I will check on when is the next speech, and I will put it in there. So if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.